What's up again, my friends? It's Carpo here. And I just wanted to do kind of a quick video about music, because I love music. I actually was going to make a couple of videos like this over the past week on, I'd be listening to a band and think, oh, I love these guys. I haven't heard these guys forever. And then I want to make a video talking about it. But it's like, what's the point? You're talking about a specific band. Everybody's got their own interests. A couple weeks ago, I turned on Suicidal Tendencies. Oh no, I said the word suicidal, so all of a sudden now I'm in the YouTube cesspool video list, right? Sorry, I just had to. There's certain keywords and trigger words that if you say them in the video or you put them in the title or anything, then YouTube will demote it. Several channels that I watch, I don't even get my subscriptions. Sometimes I have to go to their channel. So I know when I upload certain things that it doesn't show up in the feed. I don't know why. But anyhow, back to the subject. Music. It was funny because I got up and I turned on Fish this morning. Fish is one of my, I was a Deadhead, of course, and Grateful Dead and Fish have that kind of jam band atmosphere. There's like Dead purists who can't stand Fish, and Fish people who don't like the Dead. I really don't give a shit what people like. I just know what I like. I actually didn't listen to Fish until much later, after the Dead even wasn't playing for a while. It's like 98 or 99 when I really got into them. But anyhow, we found out that they're coming this summer for a 3-day tour in the Gorge, and a two-day show in Eugene, and then 3 days in the Gorge. And we love the Gorge. The Gorge Amphitheater is the best place to see music. And so anyhow, I'm going to go to that show this summer. There's a Dark Star Orchestra, which is a Grateful Dead cover band. They're playing tonight, so we decided to go to that. And we still go see Dead and Company, which is the rest of the Grateful Dead, along with other band members, and I still love the music. It doesn't matter who's playing it. But it turns out they're not coming to the West Coast for their tour this year, so Fish is going to have to be it. And so the thing is, I could sit and listen to music all day long, but being at a show, even if I hear a song I don't like from the band, it doesn't matter. You still find a way to like it. Even the boring songs that you've heard a million times, like One More Saturday Night, if you're a Deadhead, you've heard that a million times. But if it's Saturday night, you know they're going to play it. They almost always do. And a few times they didn't. But I've been listening to a lot of different genres lately. I always have my whole life. And this morning, actually, yesterday I was listening to the new album by Eminem. And by the way, Eminem is fucking amazing lyricist and rapper. I mean, Eminem has always been one of my favorites since way back in the day. And actually, one of the first records I got was Eminem, his Slim Shady EP. But anyhow, I've always liked good rap, good R&B, good hip hop. But my big question was, where did it go? And a lot of people wonder what happened to that good raw sound that we had in the 80s and even up into the 90s. And it can be pretty easily simplified by saying quantization. So back in the 80s when the Roland 808 came out, the 808, everybody's heard of 808 kick drum, 808, that term is everywhere. Well, the 808 was the first real drum synthesizer where you had 16 meshed beats, and you could change and add whatever synthetic sounds you wanted, and that was amazing for musicians. When I was younger and I was playing guitar, maybe the rich kid had the drum machine, and I just drooled. I was like, I'd love to have my own drum machine. They were pretty new, but that 808 sound became so prominent. But it wasn't just that. It was the fact that a lot of these devices that came out in the 80s allowed you to record in a, let's just say you were doing it live and there was no quantization. Quantization is when you are slightly off beat and the computer knows to push it to the closest beat. It knows how to fix it. Today we have what's called auto-tune. It's basically quantization for the voice, if you will. So people who aren't in the industry or don't play music really don't know about these things. They just figure, well, you can fix it in Pro Tools, or you can fix it in, whenever you're editing, you can change these things and the computer can automatically fix errors. I find it to be sterile, and it can actually damage. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go look to some of your favorite drummers or drum solos and look at them quantized, because there are a couple of YouTubers, I don't recall who they were, that have quantized like famous drum beats and solos to show you just how shitty it sounds compared to that slightly offbeat. So there was a this DJ in the 80s, Jay Dilla, who did a lot of offbeat type stuff. And today, it's a lot of the stuff is kind of what they call the trip hop, or there's several different subgenres of music that's just really slow, kilter, offbeat, dirty, lo-fi type stuff. And I think so. So to answer the question, I guess I was going to pose, which is where did the good music go? It's still there. It's just harder to find. But if you look back in time, you'll see that the music sucked back then too. There were shitty bands back in the 80s, 70s, and 60s. There were some psychedelic bands that were horrible. They knew nothing. They had no skills. In fact, a lot of the bands started out with no skills and learned as they went. Some of my favorite bands, the bass players or the drummers, were just friends of theirs, and they're like, well, we need a drummer, man. You just start playing. And they did, and they became phenomenal. That's how it was for Phil Lesh, the Grateful Dead. And Phil Lesh is a phenomenal bass player. So, and I personally am a bass player and a guitar player. And the reason I started playing bass was because I thought that my fingers were too big for guitar. And I was like, a couple of years later, I was like, that's ridiculous excuse. You know, for example, like this is the first guitar I bought when I was 18. And still to this day, pick it up, play a G, play an E, play a D. It has a good sound, and it's just an Oscar Schmidt, like a $150 guitar. And this thing has been all around. Well, my son recently bought me a 12-string, so I've really been enjoying playing that, my oldest son. And coincidentally enough, before I made this video, FedEx came to the door and knocked on the door with the delivery for him, because he went to see a concert last night up in Seattle. It was Dark Star Orchestra. They're doing a tour down the coast. I didn't want to go. It's just too much hassle to drive to Seattle and back. But he ordered this guitar he's really wanted. I think it's a Les Paul. I can't even remember. But a nice hollow body guitar, beautiful guitar, and it got delivered today. And so he's in there right now jamming on it. And my son is a phenomenal guitarist. We're a musical family, and I really try to inspire my kids to play. He can outplay me by far. I'm just an acoustic guitar player. You know, give me a few basic chords, campfire melodies, you know, classic folk songs, stuff like that. I like finger picking, and he does more solo work and stuff, but he does a lot of really amazing guitar work. I don't know, there's just something about having that musical skill, the ability to play a melody. And my wife, see, she was never taught how to play music. And I've been trying to inspire her to maybe want to, I mean, it's hard. The older you get, the more stubborn you are and the harder it is. She wants to do certain art projects, stuff like that. And I'm the same way. I took it upon myself this year to say I'm going to learn to draw. I've always wanted to learn how to draw, and I've been drawing pictures. I'm like, once a day, I'm going to draw a picture for a little while. And once a day, I'm going to pick up my guitar and write a song so I can stay, not just be able to keep playing, but actually do what I've wanted to do, which is write my own album. And I made a video the other day talking about how many artists spread themselves thin. And I was talking about all the different things that I've done, whether it's, you know, jewelry or carpentry. I don't even think I mentioned playing music, because it's on my bucket list to make my own album, produce my own album. And in today's world, I'm finally able to do that, but it takes time and focus and energy. It's funny to see how far music has come with all the different genres. You know, like dubstep. What happened to dubstep? You know, dubstep was rooted from dub, and if you go back and you trace the different subgenres of music back to where they came from, it's really fascinating. They come and they go, and people like it for a while, and then they don't, and certain new sounds come around. When Ableton came around, which is a software program that allows producers to make their own beats and rhymes and music, basically DJ equipment, it made it really difficult because it made it accessible for anyone to make music, but at the same time, if you wanted to learn how to use it properly, you had to spend a fortune in licensing, and then you had to learn how to use it. And I had a friend who was a DJ. He would play at the regional Burning Man here, and I met him there. Originally, he's the one who introduced us to it like 10 years ago. And he's been DJing there forever. He spins vinyl. And the last time I saw him was 2 years ago, and he was just kind of standing there with his DJ setup, just reading this manual, and I'm like, "What's up?" You know, he's like, "Man, this thing's a pain in the ass to learn." He's like, I've spent like a year trying to learn how to do all this stuff, and by the time you learn it, it's completely, you know, outdated and irrelevant. So I don't know. It's really, that's one of the notes I wanted to mention, was that music changes so fast that by the time you put out your album, that style's not even around, which is crazy ridiculous. You just got to stick to something you really like and not leave it. You can still put out a 90s or 80s rap style album. People will buy it and enjoy it. But the thing is, you've got to be in it for making the music. If you're out just looking to make money, you're bound to fail. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't, but we all know the rock stars that are just out for the cash. Just playing music is something that comes from the soul. Listening to music, I don't know what else to say about it. There's so many different styles and varieties, but that's about all I got to say about music today. I'm just kind of excited to go to the show tonight, and I'm urging all of you to go to a concert too. Find one that you like and go. And a lot of you do, but I've talked to people on my channel who say they've never been to a concert. And I was like, well, you know, I don't understand how people can't like music, but, and I'm not saying people who don't go to concerts don't like music, but rather there are some people out there who don't like music. So I read this book called Hallucinations by Oliver Sacks, and then a different book he wrote called Musicophilia. And it's an actual book about different perceptions of music and how some people pick up notes sound the same as between, say, a C and a D. The pitch difference, once it hits a certain level, then it changes for them, but they hear it and perceive it differently. So there are some people who cannot stand sounds because of the way that they're perceived, and music actually sounds like noise to them, but they're very rare. Beyond those people, I think that we are primed and programmed to love music. I mean, it's everywhere. I'll talk to y'all later. My buddy's going to come over in a bit, and so he might be knocking at the door. We'll go see. Later. Thanks for coming to Carlo's channel, yo.